Shalom, it's Sophie Carrots. All right, so we're going to be doing Leo, Virgo, Libra. This is going to be your March 2020 monthly reading. How you guys? I know, I'm feeling a little hype. You guys kind of just snuck yourself in there because I did not assume that you would be first, because normally I do a Scorpio, Sag, and Capricorn, but because those are my highly viewed ones. Okay, Libra, let's see. Y'all want to show me y'all love me? That's fine. I see y'all Leo, Virgo. I dreamed about some Leos and Virgos yesterday. Okay, well, I dreamed about Leos. Okay, so we got the Hangman in reverse, the Five of Wands in reverse. Okay, so obviously you guys are getting, you see the bigger picture now. You're unstuck about what the situation actually is. It really is, and how you were choosing choosing to not be in a, spiritually, you're now putting down the fight. Okay, so I don't know what's going on, but you guys have surrendered to knowing that you're hanging yourself by being combative with yourself, if that makes sense. Okay, hanging yourself by being compatible with yourself. So that's emotionally and spiritually. Okay, because if that was forward, you would be you would be in a state of mind of, why do I feel that I need to have all eyes on me but see nothing? Okay, so ask yourself, why do you want to have all eyes on you but see nothing? When you see nothing, you're able to direct the energy forward. Okay. And then when now that you're out of the Hangman, you have found the answers of why you were in this conflicting state, okay? Because you were hiding from a part of yourself that was intuitively knowing that it was for you but not by you, okay? So there's kind of like saying, having a bigger picture being presented and you can't be the one that presented, if that makes sense, okay? Or like, say if you're in a group say if you're in a group project or whatever, you're the person that is not coming up with the creative ideas to, solve this problem, which is, this is nothing but a problem, okay? And you solve it, okay? And then we have in the Six of Chalices in your physical space, and then we have the Ace of Pentacles in your mental space. Okay, so now you're knowing what your North Node is going to be calling you to do. Now you know what you have been protected by, okay? And why this is your highest purpose to be called into, okay? And then we also have the Six of Chalices. The Six of Chalices in your physical space is physical space is really just taking you to take a time to sing. Okay, so this is, you guys know. Well, I don't really like to identify these cards as people yet, but you guys know this is pretty much more Scorpion energy. Okay, so that is that younger vibration that you are needing to camaraderie yourself with. Okay, finding those who are in your true tribe, not because you are comfortable in that tribe, but because they're your true tribe. I have a question. Would you keep your enemies at the same table as you if they had beneficial positions? Yes, you would. Or no, you wouldn't, because you fear that ability to be influenced by those you cannot, you can't manipulate, okay? You fear being influenced by those you cannot manipulate. Period. Okay? All right, so let's move on to the second week. That's your first week, though. So I see that you guys are coming through a very mature space. You guys are coming from a loving space and a healing space, okay? This is very healing. When you sing, you're singing to the gods. When you're singing to your angels. You're singing to your ancestors, okay? Because they still have a voice and a chord that needs to be, waved through or given a different voice, okay? And sometimes it comes through a different vibration. And singing is, singer has different octaves or octaves. But yeah, okay, so let's move there. Now you can rest as you're, now you can basically, in this first week, you're going to be able to see how you can rest easily knowing that you are being taken care of, no matter if you're in a room with enemies, okay? Or if you're in a room with people that you have started a issue with. Because this is definitely coming to your first week and definitely coming to your emotional and spiritual. Those are your personal, how you feel is how you feel. You know what I'm saying? You can't say, oh, I feel like, Jessica the Rabbit. You can't feel like Jessica the Rabbit. You can only feel like who you are in this in this person. And, and then you see the Five of Wands, which is basically saying, I started this with myself. I started this spiritual uphill or this spiritual battle. Obviously you had to learn how to get through it. But you can only be, rest assured that you have to mentally, now say, can you put me on the path that I need to be on? Because I did not feel, and that's what you'll be asking yourself spiritually, or those who you feel that will give you that validation in some sense. All right, second week. All right, so this is the the spiritual fool. Okay, so this is the person who's a little bit more prepared. You guys know that I use this card to it's my other fool. It's my other fool. It's my other fool because you know you have the light. You're more prepared. Your bags are lighter. Your attire is more. You know, have you ever? Okay, so I think about this. When I go places, I normally don't bring anything that I feel like is too uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like if I go to the club, I want to be comfortable just because I got to run out of the club. And that's that fight or flight. Okay, so this one is a little bit more spiritually inclined, spiritually more mature to take that that emotional route. Okay. To go through that emotional journey with someone who has, you know, a same spiritual vibration as you. And that means just kind of being happy in a new relationship, taking the new relationship as it stands, as it states, and you don't give them, you know, the old energy of, you know, you don't give it the old energy that you have given it in your old relationships. And that could be intimidating for a lot of people, okay? To have a relationship that they're not giving the same energy or effort that they used to give the other ones, okay? And then we have, thank you, and then we have the 10 of Wands in reverse, and then we have, oh, cool, okay. World card. Okay, so now we're moving into the, I see that you're really coming through. We got the 5 of Wands here in the second week, and then we have the 5 of Wands in the first week, 10 of Wands in the second week in your spiritual space. So now you're really releasing. These two cards together are sexy, okay? Because you're, again, that's spiritual maturity. That's like a spiritual ascension. That's a spiritual level of deep understanding of what you were asking yourself of. You're like, oh, the introspection. Oh, it's like a bunch of big O's, okay? Because again, I love that the owl is here. Found any way to let my baby out. Okay, so I mean, you know, because you really take that spiritual, you take those spiritual lessons and say, okay, now what is going to follow me? And because you think about this, you're leaving crumbs for things to follow you. You're asking for wisdom along the way. You're bringing your wisdom, your totem, your animal totem with you, and your monkey, aka your black. You're really aka your black, your black card. You're bringing your black card with you. Ooh, somebody bringing a black card with them. Okay. Okay. I didn't see that coming. All right, so then we got this one. 7 of Chalices in the physical space. Okay, so now you see how his hand is on his face or his mask. His face is on his hand is on his mask because he now understands. I have made the decision, and now how do I let these cups go? How do I let these cups go? And that's a physical act. That's a physical. Okay, how do I let these cups go to tend to my queen, my worship, the one who I want to worship, the one who I desire to put on the pedestal that deserves, you know, less than a little bit. Why would I? It's almost like saying I'm a millionaire, but I'm giving everybody. I'm giving everybody what's the digit? What's the place? Okay, so I'm giving one person $1. I'm giving the next person 100. I'm giving the next person 1,000. I'm giving the next person what's out there? 1,000, 10,000. Then I'm giving them 100,000. Then I'm giving them $1 million. How, when you can just give one person $1 million and y'all literally reflect that back and forth because you're gonna always know where your millions are at. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you're picking out that 7 of Chalices. Okay, in the physical space. Okay. And then we have in the mental space, 6 of Swords. So there's something that you're not going to mentally let go this week. Maybe this is that attitude along with the physical. Maybe you haven't learned how to divide, you know what I mean? Because I feel like this. I even think about high profile relationships and how they take care of certain women. And, you know, there's a lot of women that's accustomed to their lifestyle that they have breeded, you know what I mean? They have made and nurtured in this part of their lifestyle. But then you have to say, okay, so how do I remove myself from this person or these people so I may, you know, go into battle to make me think of future. Well, my gas smash, you know what I mean? Okay, love was in the air, but you have already caught wind of what the real love was, okay? What the real love and unity feels like. So now you don't have to attack it, okay? You can take the swords out of your back because, again, when you have you got your 100 over there, you got your $10 over there, you got your $1 over there, you don't know how they spending that, you know what I'm saying? And it may not be conducive to what you have going on mentally in the future, okay? When you, mental is your manifestation, okay? So I could even change that to that, okay? So mental is your manifestation, okay? So I'm gonna put that up there. What you mentally do is what you mentally prepare for, okay? Gonna make it right. I'm gonna make a change for my life. All right, third week. It's gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. All right, we got the Judgment at the bottom. Okay, so we have the Knight of Wands. So you see that you're learning how to split out of the slow. 10, 10, 10, 10. All right, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Okay, so we have 10, 10 right there. So you're learning how to split yourself out of the slow entanglement that you've been in. So say if you've been having sex like you've been having sex since you was high school, or you've been having sex how you've been having sex since you learned how to have sex. And I'm using an emotional space because this is phallic for me, okay? And it's a long road coming. It's a long way of been doing something, okay? It's a long form of action that has not, now you have to learn how to burst out of that and maybe become maybe a smaller snake, but with a bigger, a bigger width, okay? A bigger expansion, a bigger belly, a bigger appetite, okay? Because the Knight of Wands doesn't have a large appetite. It has a greedy appetite. Okay, there's a difference between large appetite and greedy appetite, okay? When you have a greedy appetite, you're literally, again, you take the long road to get to your goal. You take the long road to get to your goal instead of having a more bigger appetite. Bigger and greed is different, okay? So the greedy would take a long time, and it will just be like, I'm gonna take everything I need to get whatever, I'm gonna take everything that I think that I need along the way, and then when you get to the end of the world, you have to shed all that anyway. You understand? You have to shed all of that anyway. That would suck, having to go, that's almost like a man damaging or a woman damaging every man until they get to the right one, and then wondering, that these people that they had greed or taken from are actually now a manifestation or a makeup of the person that they actually wanted. So you basically took the long road to get to the person that you wanted, and now the person that you want and then you have to learn how to use those same lessons and have to use that same action so you can burn yourself out with the one that you have. And you don't want to burn yourself out with the person that you have. You know what I mean? Like, you have, that is yours. You know what I'm saying? Because when you do, you don't really learn how to fly with them in the because I'm looking at these purple clouds in your highest vibration, okay? So when I say in everything wear your crown, I mean it, because you literally have to keep okay, so we have the lighter purple, which is a lot more, you're able to, it's kind of like feminine and masculine, okay? So you either be able to vibrate to your masculine, your highest masculine and your highest feminine. But when these two are not balanced, you basically took, you took too much of masculine, you took too much of feminine, okay? And then we have this right here. So we have the Queen of Chalices in your spiritual space. So the third week is going to be a lot of learning and unlearning, okay? It's going to be a slower process, because again, I see you took too much feminine, because this is the Queen of Chalices in reverse in the spiritual way. So do we see the masculine is more hard down here, okay? But the masculine did not build a foundation more than the feminine needed, okay? The masculine did not build a foundation more than the feminine needed. The feminine is now saying, okay, I was not given love properly. So you will spiritually say that I was not given feminine love properly. And if I was given feminine love, I was taught to be too feminine, okay? And then we have the Five of Pentacles in your physical space in reverse, though, okay? So that, again, that's either too much or too less. So I think you either took too much or too less of something, okay? And that's up for you to decide. I don't want to sit here and say, oh, because it's easy. It's almost kind of like a personal reading when I say it like that. But it really is that space of, asking yourself, where have I not been rooted properly in my masculine and feminine divinity, okay? Because even here on the mountains, I love this Bible quote. It says, when a soldier asks you to carry his load, carry, for 1 mile, carry it for 2, okay? So now you again putting more burden on you're putting more burden on the emotional labor that you now have to do when it's slower, okay? And that's when it's in reverse. But it's still good, because that means you're learning how to physically rearrange what that masculine and over femininity looks like, okay? And I'll even want to bring this into attention that the Judgment is here, okay? So you're going to have to use a more stubborn approach, aka the Knight of Wands, because that's still greed. A stubborn approach to decide on what should be left dead and what should be left undead, okay? Meaning, say, like in your relationships, how we was talking about, you now would say, oh, I really like the way such and such gave me the perspective to take risk in this area of my life rather than overexert myself in this area of my life. So you would just be going into that type of mindset with each person that you really learned those lessons, those spiritual lessons from, the ones that you can identify, the ones that you don't need to go back to repeat, okay? And then yeah, no guys, I don't know y'all like that. And plus I work too closely with people that will feel that this is about them, and it's just best for you to take the information that you need for it to be about you. Okay. And then we have the magician in reverse. Okay, so again, that magician coming into your mental space. You can't trick your way out of this one. When there's spiritual lessons coming in, you can't trick your way out of this. You have to literally learn what the tools that you use to manipulate, aka the Knight of Wands, the tools that you use to emotionally manipulate. Now you have to learn how to emotionally unmanipulate yourself. Okay, or learn to emotionally trust your manipulation. Okay, so that means that emperor, who were you letting be in? Who were people that was letting you be in charge of their life or their direction trustworthy? Were you even trustworthy to lead their life? Were you in a trustworthy position? Because that's really what that is mentally. Were you even trustworthy to be leading someone's life? Okay, so when some men be like, oh, trust me, baby, or women be like, oh, you know, I feel like women know how to be more manipulative than differently, because we're talking about the child, you know, you lacking femininity, meaning you wasn't using the soft part of yourself that was saying, maybe this may come back on me one day, maybe this may affect my daughter one day. Do you understand? This same attitude may affect my daughter one day. So that can be, you are literally manifesting a complex for your own physical being that you created. None of my business though. You know what I mean? Because I personally had to unlearn the things that I know my father personally you know, used his, because he's a, you know, he's an Aries, so that is his, you know, that is his form of magicianry, you know. And I had to learn those magical wands and bells and whistles and all that, and I was like, wow, you know what I mean? I really had to learn those aspects of what a magician does and what a magician does not. You know, not to call out what he does and what he do and do not do, but that again was like a firm foundation on how to see a magician. Okay, a magician operate. But yeah, but basically you're gonna have to see how your physical, I mean your mental manipulation has now created a cycle in the future. Okay, so everything you do literally has, it may not happen on this timeline, but it's happening in another timeline. So every action that you take is another action of another action. Okay, is another action of another action, another consequence of another consequence. Okay. Ooh, eye twitching. Right one. Right one. All right, so and then we have, ooh, so this is our 4th week. Okay, so we come out with some strength. Okay, so we have the Queen of Swords. Okay, so okay, so where were you not physically feminine? Okay, in your feminine aspect, where were you not emotionally? Where were you not communicating? Okay, what part of yourself was cutting down a female? This could be for the masculine reading or just even for you interacting with women. Okay, what part of you emotionally were you cutting the voice of another woman, or abusing the power that another woman had for you? Okay, meaning like, say if something, you went through something, or you haven't went through it yet, but the woman has went through it, you felt like that woman should not be able to speak because you haven't went through it and you oblivious to that even happening to you. They always say don't laugh at the character that literally could be behind your back, or it could be, you could be next in line for that, like that type of activity or that type of same interaction. Okay, never laugh at the woman that you think is going through something, or the person that you think is going something, because that literally can just be nothing but a boomerang. If you're viewing it, it's because it can happen to you. Depending on your mindset and your attitude towards it, that's how you know that you can grow and are expanding through it. Because there's a difference between observing and judging to observe. Okay, and then again, what you think you are not protecting, meaning by your words, what you don't protect in your emotional space, your words. And I always say, watch what you say when you arguing. I was just watching 600 Breezy, not to you know, name drop some videos I was watching. I just found out that Teen Shade, they got a shade room for the teens. I said whatever. But anyway, okay, so when I was watching, but he for one, he was disrespecting Queen Key, but that's not my business. I don't know, their zodiacs, this may not have nothing to do with it, but it was okay. For one, granted, he was disrespecting her, and he, you know, he had his own perspective of how she was disrespectful, which you could tell by her music that she probably is, and that's just no, you know, whatever. But I still like it because there's a certain level of toxicity that we gotta, you know, jam out to. But in the thing, he was like, how women, okay, so I was reading basically some of her comments, and this is just whatever, and she was like, I should have used the opportunity to get you killed. That is a poor use of Queen of Swords, and I just want to tell you that. I'm gonna just tell you that because your name is Queen and we talking about Queen. That was a poor use of Queen. That was a poor use of queendom, okay? And I don't care. I'm gonna say that because I got, like, I'm prepared to say that. That is a poor use of using your language. Do you understand? You have 3 people that you are producing in this world that now would have to, you know, deal with the repercussions of those words. You know what I mean? And remember, I tweeted, I was going to not tweet it, I was going to, you know, put it on my status. Y'all understand that a lot of things that y'all do don't happen to you, they happen to your kids. Okay? So y'all better be careful. I'm gonna just say that now. Y'all better be careful, because what that don't happen to you happen to your kids. That's you talking, your kids here, and they're gonna have to deal with that same affliction, because we talking about that, okay? Because we have the Six of Cups, which is the baby. The Six of Cups, or the Six of Chalices, is a baby to me, okay? That is the womb, that is the spirit, that is the unborn, that is the natural, okay? That is the innocent, that is the underworld. So that means that whatever is being not seen is also being seen in another dimension, okay? Or another realm. So be careful on all of those occasions, okay? And even be careful about the advice that you give into your children, because again, it may not be affecting you, it could be affecting your grandchildren. And it may not be affecting your grandchildren, it could be affecting your great-grandchildren, which is that's 3 generations ahead of you that you are cursing on, okay? So there is a very strong need to be objective when you give advice and really be clear about the advice that you are giving. Do you understand? And I'm just saying that, and I'm also saying watch your words when it comes to, you know, this, because that's a smart ass person. But when you are emotionally manipulating just for the comfort of somebody, there's one thing to give it 21:12. There's one thing to give advice, and there's one thing to give to be a listening board, okay? And I just want to say that people that together be rapping together, okay? And when you're rapping together, I hope you got a good mantra, because that's nothing but prayers, okay? The people that, if you talking in threes, or you talking to more than 3 people about the same subject or the same person, guess what? You pretty much praying on yourself. And I'm going to just let y'all know that off top. Period, poo. Okay, so we got the strength card in your spiritual space. So again, make sure you're spiritually sound. Make sure you're spiritually strong. And I always tell people, I do not want to be around you if you are spiritually weak. I do not. Because a spiritually weak person wouldn't know the difference between this, okay? A spiritually weak person would not know the difference between emotional damage to themselves, 222, and emotional damage to their future, okay? Anyway, so we got the Ace of Swords in reverse. The Ace of Swords in reverse is physically, again, that whole physical realm, and that's not even just speaking current. That's speaking in the future, okay? I remember when I talked about, and I don't remember the reading, but it was earlier this week, the ESPN by All the Elements. Protecting your legs, protecting your flesh, protecting your face, protecting your breast, okay? Protect everything that you feel that you, 222-333, that you feel can be manifested against, okay? Remember, keep this part armored, okay? Keep that part armored. There's cool to have nice arms, nice legs, nice butt, nice all of that, but your solar plexus need to make sure it has a vibration of true form of protection, okay? Meaning what you put in your gut is also what you put in your nut, okay? For the men's out here. All right, and then we got the Ace of Swords in reverse in your mental space, okay? So basically, that ain't nothing but the monster inside of you. Everybody has a shadow side. Not saying that you 11-11. Not saying that you can't, you know what I mean? But don't be digging your hole. Don't be digging holes again. Because I remember when I was a kid, I tried to dig a hole to China. Don't ask me why, what I did. I was close. I was real close to the hole, y'all. I was real close to China, okay? But when I was close to China, I found out that I should stop digging. Because when I stopped digging, I realized that I was actually, you know, messing up the land that I had already created, okay? And now I have to avoid my own traps. That was just a reference. I wasn't close to China, y'all. We didn't even get that far. I think we got in trouble for that. But that was, that's just kind of like the mental space that you want to make sure that you are remaining in. Don't dig a trap that you have to come around in later, okay? That you have to give the same advice, the spiritual advice around later. And of course, you can't avoid all adversities or all frustrations and all emotional manipulation that you feel that you are needing to do under a spiritual attack or under, but remember, you're not under a spiritual attack when you got all these eyes like that. Don't be afraid to hear yourself in other people, okay? And don't be afraid to hear yourself in yourself. Okay, meaning judge yourself critically or someone else will. All right, Shalom. Let me get you guys your crystal reading. Ooh. All right, so we got the pink granite. Ooh, this is pretty. Oh, I would love a counter like that. Okay, so we got it. Has the highest paradigmatic resonance of all stones and create immense energy, okay? You are an ancient Egyptian. You are an ancient Egyptian with arcane knowledge that role entails, but you originate in the stars, okay? You understand cycles of birth, death, and rebirth, okay? And immortality. You have been involved in an ancient power struggles. Cut yourself loose. Become grounded. Learning experiences often occur regularly and serendipitous. Synchronicities put you in exactly the right place at the right time, okay? So the timing is out of the blue. Out of the box. Out of the box. Okay. All right, so yeah, that's all your chakras, okay? So I hope you guys enjoy your reading. You have a magnificent month. Allow yourself to be spiritually there, spiritually strong. You ended well, but ended well with the right speech, okay? Ended well, but with the right speech. All right, shalom. Capiche?